My name is Phoenix Kazree, and I am from Los Angeles, California.
Cool. How long have you been pole dancing?
I've been pole dancing, it will crazy. It will be 15 years in September.
Okay. Tell
Yeah.
me about your first.
Oh my God.
So you're about to celebrate 15 years. That's amazing. So
Yeah.
tell me about your first class and why did you get into pole dancing?
Okay, so my first class was in Salt Lake City, Utah. And at the time, I was dancing with the Lion King, and that's where we were stationed because I was on one of the national tours. And my apologies to anybody who lives in Salt Lake City, but at the time, there was just not much going on. So I was looking around for things to do, and I found one of the like weekly circulars where they kind of talk about things that are going on in the city.
Mhm.
I'm like maybe live music or some type of museum, something. But I found an ad for like an intro to circus class. I'm like,
Okay.
let's do that. So I went, and it was like we did some static trapeze and lyra, silks, all that kind of stuff. And the other students in my class, I overheard them after class talking about their pole class. And I'm like, what pole class? They're like,
Mhm.
pole class. I'm like, no, I don't know pole
Right.
class. Ask you what pole class. I'm
Yeah.
like pole dance, like stripper. They're like, no, it's not. They were offended. No, it's not a stripper class. I'm like, well, I mean, pole dance to me sounds like stripper class. That sounds like fun. Where's it? Their pole dance class. I'm like, I'm ready to hit this stripper class.
Yes.
And my coworkers, we were always at the club, you
Yeah.
know, girls dance. So I was really excited for my stripper class, and I had on my gigantic Puma half mid-length biker shorts with the tiniest bikini I could find. My top on some heels, which were not pole heels. They were so uncomfortable.
Yeah.
The little strappy ones that you
Yeah.
wear. Yeah, that's what but I took that first class, and it was everything to me. And I was
Yes.
like, this is so much fun. And that was it. After that, I was like, I'm done. This is what I want to do. I didn't know it was going to become a career,
Uh-huh.
but that was what I was going to do the remainder of my time in Salt Lake City.
Okay, so how long, so in that one first space, like how long were you there? Like how long were you taking classes and then you left because you're still on your tour? How did
Yeah.
you make that saying, all right, I'm done with Broadway, I'm done with, doing this type of dance and I want to do this. How did you make that transition?
Well, because I was on tour, and because, with pole, most classes happen in the evening or on the
Mhm.
weekend. And that made it difficult for me to take class. Like the one class that I had taken was an intro class, which was extremely easy for me, but I still
Yeah.
loved it. So different from the structured dance I was used to. So I took that class, and the owner was telling me I could do private lessons, things like that.
Mhm.
So after that intro class, I went directly into private lessons. I was
Oh,
taking private
okay.
twice a week, and I was in Salt Lake City probably for another 2.5 weeks.
Okay.
And then Chicago was our next city, and I had ordered a pole. So when I got to Chicago, I had my pole. My friend came over and put it up in my apartment,
Oh,
and
wow.
I just started polling by myself. Found a local studio where there was a couple classes a week I was able to take, plus my private. So I started out immediately hardcore.
Mm.
And then I actually left Lion King. I can't remember if it was 2004. It was 2014. So about 4 years later, I was like full time.
You know what is so interesting about every single one of y'all, Raj, Jamila, Nadia, Sasha? 2014 was literally that was the year all of y'all lives changed. Literally, there must have been something special in the pole water
Mhm.
because every single one of y'all, there was like, this is it, and I'm not looking back. And
I
it's
didn't.
like, it gives me chills. Like all of y'all from different types of movement in the world, all connected with pole, but it was that year, like it changed.
I didn't know that. Like, I remember when I first started polling, like the names that you're saying, those are people like, I was new when I
Yeah.
first, I would watch Nadia, and I would
Mhm.
watch Saj, and I would watch Natasha. I would watch those people,
Yeah.
and those who I looked up to and aspired to be like. I was like, oh, I like what they're doing. It's really cool. Yeah, but I didn't know that we had all like kind of made that
Yes.
trend the same
Every
year.
single one of you between 2013 and 2015, that was the time you're like, okay, they either won a major competition or
Mhm.
something took off, something went viral at the time. And it was just like, whatever I was doing, I'm not doing that anymore.
Yeah.
So, being a professionally trained dancer, how has that experience like helped or challenged you at transitioning to pole full time?
I found out that it was quite easy for me just because as far as just polling in general, I was already flexible. I was already very body aware, already, was graceful. I had all that. What I didn't have was like the upper body strength that I needed. So
Mm.
that came just with pole,
Yeah.
going back to gym and changing how I worked out to supplement
Mm.
my, yeah, so that. And then like, with the job that I had, it wasn't like I was coming from a 9 to 5, you
Right.
know, job that I had, like with Lion King, most of our shows, if we started at 7:30 or 8, we had to be at the theater 30 minutes before,
Oh, okay.
that was our call time. If we wanted to be there a little earlier, we could, and then we were done and ready to walk out of the theater about 3 hours later, which
Okay.
means even once I started pole, like I was still polling all day long. Like I could be in the studio
Mm.
10 or 11 a.m. until 3 or 4 p.m. Until classes started happening. Then I'd go home, shower, take a nap, go do the show. So for me, once I left Lion King, I just no longer had that evening thing. I had more time,
Gotcha.
commit to pole. So it was not like, I'm working all day, then I have a couple days a week to train. No, I was already doing it.
Okay.
That's the whole reason why I left pole. I'm sorry, why I left Lion King for pole is because every city that we went to, because I was on a tour, people knew I was coming. Once it got out I was in Lion King, people were like, oh, Lion King's coming to our city. Phoenix is coming. Let's have her teach. So
Wow.
like even like with pole pressure, Devon,
Yeah.
before over, I was teaching private lessons after my show. Sometimes I would have private p.m. at Pull Pressure, sometimes on the weekends before a show, and in between the matinee and the evening show. So I was doing
Wow.
like Zoom was a thing. I was teaching private lessons from to people in different countries, prepping them for competition. So I was doing way too much. So leaving my job was actually a breath of fresh air so I could rest.
Mm.
Yeah, so I was already polling full time. I had two full.
And both very physical. Very physical. Yeah. Yeah. So, what is your favorite move to perform?
Oh, my favorite move, and it's weird because I don't even think I've ever done it in a show,
Um,
is spin.
what?
Yeah. Shishi spin. I have to put it in a show. I can't believe I don't think I've ever performed Shishi spin in front of a live audience, but it's my everything. I think it's so
Okay.
pretty.
So explain it to me. Explain me to me what this move is.
So if you think of like, so if you were to go on an outside leg hang into a
Okay.
gym, your free leg and brought it around to the opposite side of the pole, the same
Okay.
leg that hooked, and aligned it with the pole. Take that, turn it upright.
Okay. I've seen this move.
Creates this like really beautiful kind of open line, and
Yeah.
the bottom leg is crossed. Those of you who are dancers, I don't know if you've ever heard of like Forsyth. It has really cool like shapes like that in his
Mm.
choreography. That's what it reminded me of. I was like, this move's gorgeous. But yeah, that's my favorite.
Okay. So where did you learn that? Is that something that you kind of compiled together or inspiration from something else?
No, it's just a move that existed.
Okay.
I liked it. I started doing it, and the different variations started coming out. I started playing with it, making my own variations. I love teaching it because it can go from like pretty like a low intermediate up
Yeah.
into like elite, where you're basically just holding on with the arm behind your back.
Mm.
There's nothing besides the skin on the front of your inside leg. But yeah, you're basically holding on, leaning away, and I think it's pretty impressive.
Yes. All right, cool. So again, I consider you a pole legend. What would you say that you're best known for? I know we talk about creative movements and there's, movements have existed in all
Mhm.
different spaces, but what would you say that you help to widely make readily available and people say, "Oh, when they think of you, they think of this movement."
I think I would say fluidity on the pole,
Okay.
just really like smooth and clean with your transitions, dancing through them,
Mhm.
making things look a lot easier than they are. That and creative transitions.
Okay. Okay. And then I feel like is it the Titanic? Is it that movement?
Mhm.
That's another movement that you're pretty well known for.
Yes, that's probably my biggest known signature trick, even though a lot of my signature tricks are still done. People just don't know that I created it because it doesn't necessarily have a name, but the biggest one is Titanic.
Right. Yeah. And that's the whole purpose of doing this. Like telling our history because no one's going to tell our history,
Mhm.
especially in light of everything that's happened in the world. They're not going to be thinking about pole dancing, but I'm thinking about it.
Right.
Yes. What's one moment or accomplishment in your journey that you're especially proud of that really stands out to you?
For me, I would say first is just being able to leave an incredible job for and just kind of like having the bravery to take that leap, where I was so, stable in a
Yes.
job, that all the insurances and all the everything
Mhm.
I was able to travel and have the travel be paid for, accommodation. Well, I still made a whole lot of money
Yeah.
and with people that I absolutely love. Like it wasn't like, you have the people at work that you just don't like. No, like we were just such a family. It was like the dream job, if you are an artist or a movement artist, and that I was able to, leave that for something else that's just as incredible. So that was number one. Number two, I would say, I think my biggest international win would be Polar Italy, the inaugural Polar Italy competition.
What
Yeah,
year was that? What year
we
was
got.
that? Okay. Okay. Cool. 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 Why did you decide to start? Why did you decide to start PK Move Online? Talk to me about that.
So that was a COVID thing. Like most of us kind of went online during COVID. Even though I had already been online since like 2013,
Yeah.
teaching on Skype before Zoom was a big thing.
Yes, that's
Yeah,
right.
because of that. Because I had never even thought to do group classes online, had just been working with individuals. And
Mhm.
once everything shut down, I was actually stuck in Chicago at the time. I was supposed to be doing a residency there. And
Mm,
got shut down. So I'm like, well, we've got this studio available to us. We were going in and just dancing, myself and the owner, who is also a good friend of mine.
mhm.
Then people started coming out doing group classes. I was like, oh, I teach online. I can do this. I can do group
Right.
classes. So, I started with like two classes and they were both non-pole classes because I figured probably not everyone doesn't have a pole at home. And then it just kept growing. I just kept
Yeah.
adding classes. I'm like, maybe I should make a platform. Maybe I should make a
Mhm.
web. Maybe I should do this. And yeah, that's where it happened. Yeah. I tried to get away from it as things started to, close down. It was like, yeah, no, no, you're not leaving us. You're not quitting us.
Yeah. No, I do like virtual. I like virtual because, schedules, you can kind of fit it in where you can. And especially here, with the studio, we're just so busy that, can't get a spot. Even I can't get a spot in my own studio, you know?
Good thing, right?
It is a good thing. It is a good thing. Yes. Okay. In what ways has your Black identity influenced your journey in the pole world, both in empowering and more complicated ways?
Well, I feel like one of the ways, I remember when I first started competing and I was watching, you're always looking for someone who looks like you. And I remember watching, I don't know if people remember Sabrina Woods,
Okay.
incredible strong polar back in the early or late 2000s to early 2010s, as well as Skittles. I think
Yes.
her Keisha Wimberly, and then Prana out of France. That's kind of the only Black women that I was seeing like do like big international competitions. Was I don't even know if Saj was competing at the time,
Hmm.
but I remember seeing Sabrina Hills and Prana. And Prana was the only Black woman that I had seen competing internationally, but she's
Yeah.
from, so I'm like, well, is she really international? Because that's,
Right.
that's so I was like, I'm gonna, submit for a competition overseas, and I got in. And once I did, I just made the decision that I was only going to compete internationally from then on because I wanted to be that face that people were
Mhm.
looking, that was an option for them. So as far as I know, I'm the first African American woman to actually compete on several continents.
That's awesome. That's awesome. So, what keeps your love for pole alive after all these years? Because you said is it 15 or 16 years? This
15.
okay,
15.
15.
Yeah.
Okay, 15 years is a long time.
It is a long time. It is a very long time. And my love for pole has changed. It is still like, it's my peace, when things are like going crazy, like I can come to the pole and just move around. I don't feel like I'm necessarily like feeling the desire to do all the latest tricks and
Yeah.
I'm not like do everything, but just it's a place of peace for me. I also love like sharing. I have a lot of background before pole and even within pole since I've been doing it. I approach it kind of like I did when I was a gymnast before I was actually a professional dancer.
Oh
So
wow.
approach it the way I learned gymnastics and also the way I learned dance. So I have a lot of philosophy behind working with the apparatus and what muscles working, and not just this goes here, this goes there, but why this goes here and where things are in relationship to your apparatus and other parts of your body to help
Hmm.
make it work for other bodies that are, different proportions, different
Yeah.
size. So I think my passion for pole right now is sharing. I love sharing my knowledge and I love choreographing and
Hmm.
creating. That's kind of what I've been doing lately, is just putting my people out on the stage, and
Yes.
like, you win me the awards now.
Yes. So do you ever hit any creative blocks, like when you're working with people and you're like, like how do you work through creative blocks?
Well, I used to hit them a lot more than I do now. Now that I'm no longer competing, um,
Mhm.
not like creating as many things as I used to. So now I don't like to create more than three pieces at once. So if I'm prepping people for comp, it's no more than three.
Okay.
And if preparing for something for myself, it's myself plus two more, because I did used to have those creative blocks. But I do have some improvisational skills that I've learned like throughout my dance years. There's lots of tools and things that I can use to kind of like help me force the movement to come through just by kind of putting myself in a box and giving myself challenges with movements.
Hmm.
So that tends to help me. And then once the ball gets rolling, then it's easier for me to keep it moving. And I'll also use that, for example, if someone has brought me maybe music or a concept that I'm just not quite feeling, because that does
Yeah.
happen. You can't always be like, that song is horrible, let's choose
Right.
something else. You're just like, okay, let's see what we can do with this song. And
Yeah.
yeah, it always works out. Yeah, but
Oh,
yeah,
cool. What do you think the future of pole looks like? On stage, in studios, competition, beyond? What do you, if you had a crystal ball, you're like, this is what I would hope gets incorporated or continues or comes back?
well, in studios, I see more and more studios are popping up everywhere, which I think
Yes.
is wonderful. I'm like, if there's enough space for there to be like 5 gyms on one block, we can have 5 pole studios in one city, you know.
Agreed.
But I'm just hoping that, more people are open to the idea of pole dancing so that we can develop studios, so that studios don't feel like they have to compete, and for people who are living in the vicinity, that there's just enough for everyone
Yeah.
on stage. I love to see more pole on stage. I get really excited when I see it in music videos or when I
Yes.
see a concert, whether it's Pink or
Right.
Beyond anybody. I'm like, everybody should have pole, just like Usher. It should be everywhere. You've got
Right.
dance levels, you need all levels. You just need this movement bombarding, and pole needs to be a part of that. So that's what I hope it. And that also creates a lot more performance opportunities. So as we
Yeah.
grow performers, we need more performance opportunities.
Agreed. Yeah. So every time there's a direct correlation, every time there's poll on a national on a TV, there's like immediately, almost immediately, I'll get an email, a call, and text.
Hmm.
And especially when they were at the Super Bowl, because it was
Yeah,
that Usher. Yes, it was Usher, and I recorded it, and I told my social media person, I said, "We're going to post this," and it was like organic reach was like 30,000 people.
yeah,
Like because people are like, "Oh, I want to do that," and they're like, "How do you do it?" And then they're like, "Oh, your classes are full." So yes, we might have been doing this. You're late to the game, but we're going to make space for you. Okay.
yeah.
How do you hope the community continues to evolve to embracing all bodies and identities and different styles of movement?
I think first that is going to happen with instructors, like
Mm.
understanding of how different bodies work. With I also think like with pole dance, like people who create pole dance wear, more inclusive.
Yes.
Like I've been fighting for that. I'm like, we need more inclusive sizing. And if you have the inclusive sizing, you need those models. Don't have
Yes.
a size 2 model and then say you have a 2XL. Like we want to see what
Yes.
it looks like bodies.
Yes.
So that, and then I think just like the more history that comes out,
Yeah.
better, so that I get a lot of people. I'm like, oh, you should try. Oh, I can't because I'm too old. Oh, I can't because
Yeah.
I'm too. Oh, I can't because I'm not strong enough. So I'm like, okay, let me pull out a video of this person. Look, this person,
Right.
they have body type. Look, this is a client I work with, and she's 63. Look, she's doing a Fanji.
Yeah.
Inclusivity just comes with knowledge and putting everything out there for people to see that this can be for you, and then also just in the classroom that the the students have to also be open and kind and welcoming to those people as well. And studio owners and instructors have to enforce that.
Yes, yeah, definitely creating a culture. I think especially now with everything that's happening. So we're in DC and we are feeling it. We are feeling it. I think at one point, as a studio pole dancing, you would kind of shy away from some topics, but I feel like, you know, I want people to know where I stand as a studio owner, the mission, the culture I'm trying to embody. And if it doesn't align, that's okay. There's other studios that might better align. But yeah, I agree with that. So what's
Yeah,
next for you? Do you have any upcoming projects, performances, things you're excited about?
I do. So the first thing that I have coming up, I'm really excited because this is the first time I've done this, is choreograph group pieces for pole.
Okay.
So one of the studios that I work with in Chicago, it's my Chicago pole home, Fly Club
Yeah.
Chicago. They do an annual Halloween show, and I've got two groups of dancers. I've got Little Pole Dance Company, and we actually are,
Oh.
yeah, a group pole piece. So I'm
Yeah.
excited about. Yeah, so I've choreographed like, numbers on whether when I was a dance teacher doing like, recitals or getting
Hmm.
older, doing, companies and things like that. I've choreographed set pieces on them. This is the first time that I've actually set a pole piece on anything other than pole doubles.
Okay.
So very excited about that. I've got two groups of five dancers, and at some
Okay.
point together, so I've got like a group of 10.
Oh, wow.
That's happening. And then in May of 2026, I'm very excited because one of my bucket list travel destinations, Vietnam, I am going to be hosting a retreat. So that, and I've got a couple of other retreats in the works in the planning stages. I'm just going to drop a couple locations. One is
Okay.
Ghana.
Oh,
So in the early stages of planning, but I have a contact, and we are working diligently on that. I'm very, very excited. My goal is to eventually be able to host 3 to 4 pole retreats per year in different places of the world. So yeah.
yes. Well, that is it. Thank you so much. Thank you. Thank you so much.